So, I see you wanted more lore. Well, I got you. I didn't want to bloat the main video too much, you know? Let's start with the most interesting, to me anyway. Why does the Dark Aether look so different from its various appearances, or the very least, between Vanguard and Cold War? As you can see in Vanguard, the Dark Aether is a red, barren wasteland. But in Cold War onwards, it's purple, with galaxies painting the skies above and strange growths along various surfaces. Had this video existed before Modern Warfare 3 and BO6, I would have told you that my assumption is the Dark Aether changes physically to adapt to its newest ruler. But seeing as the Dark Aether has kept its Cold War design for Modern Warfare 3 and BO6, I'm uncertain. Now, I suppose it could still be true, as the Forsaken remains the announcer for both of these games, so it could still be possible. But if it isn't that, then perhaps the Dark Aether we visit in Vanguard is just one of many planets mentioned to exist by the Forsaken. Speaking of the Forsaken, as I mentioned in the main video, an individual named Zealots Baragmos crafted the Crystal Axe with the intent of it being the weapon to bring the Great Devourer down once and for all. It is made up of 3 special and unique Ethereum crystals: a crystal heart obtained from within a tormentor, a polymorphic crystal, a creation of Sparagmos's, and the crystal that allows the Crystal Axe to change forms, and the energetic geode, obtained by shattering an Ethereum crystal with an abomination's electric blast. Together, these components, when dipped into the pools of Etheria, would forge the powerful and deadly Crystal Axe. Seen throughout the Dark Aether saga are ghostly memories called echoes. To best explain this, the Dark Aether itself appears to be a sponge of memories, soaking up events, people, objects, anything it touches, and storing that information in the form of echoes. Examples of these are: in D Machina, you can find Dr. Vogel and Dr. Kurtz, or Dr. Peck and Dr. Valentina. In Shinonuma, you face off against the Echo of Syraxis. In Modern Warfare 3, you can face off against the entity again, this time called the Entity Echo. And in the Tomb, the Echo of Sir Archibald will speak to the group, but not directly. It is only replaying history. Although for what happened to Dr. Panos in Liberty Falls is not entirely clear to me, as I don't think we've ever seen someone who is alive turn into an Echo and still be present, even transferring that form onto the response team, returning his physical form, and dooming his saviors. Seen throughout the Dark Aether in the Archon are these pod plants called anemones. According to Verkana, these plants are some of the last surviving flora in the wilds, developing a robust defense mechanism, best seen when walking too close to them. If provided a crystal shard, the anemone will seemingly chew on it, like a clam with a pearl, as Verkana describes. Once done, the anemone will spit out a corrupted crystal shard, which the strike team used against the floating moon rocks when facing off against Cortifex. The Altar of Covenants is a strange crucifix that grants users new abilities if given a sacrificial heart. Its history other than that is entirely unknown. Long before perk machines, there were perk fountains, or demonic fountains, mixed up with several ingredients that are best left unsaid. According to Verkana, the perk fountains were a secret passed down amongst her people, but with them all gone, their secrets died with them. It's uncertain if these inspired the Perca-Colas or the other way around, or are they just a coincidence that both exist? In the war on Cortifex and Wolfram, the duo attempted many things to help regain Cortifex's power. The 4 strike team operators and their entities prevented them from succeeding in any of their attempts. 3 of their attempts that were featured are called Augmentors, Siphon Cores, and the Sin Eater. Augmentors were runes placed along the ground that could be destroyed by standing on them for a period of time. Their purpose was to plant corruption through the surface. I would assume your entity was doing something behind the scenes to help with that, and it isn't actually as simple as standing on them. Surely. Siphon cores are an amalgamation of corpses that call out to nearby zombies, or revenants, as Cortifex calls them, sacrificing themselves to the siphon cores, providing their essence to it, which strengthens Cortifex's overall power and opens rifts that summon more revenants. It was to act as his answer on the possibility of running short on revenants, and in general just provided him with more troops. Sin Eaters are obelisks generated by Cortifex that leech power off of other deities, further empowering himself. To weaken him and regain their own strength, Cyraxus' craft strike team feed rune stones to the Sin Eater, which ultimately destroys it and returns any lost power. An obtainable item in Modern Warfare 3 were a couple of items referred to as sigils and elder sigils respectively. The objects have zero lore, to my knowledge, other than the fact that they are capable of opening dimensional rifts, but only when inserted into these strange gateways that are currently only found in the Urzikstan Outbreak event. However, as recently as BO6's The Tomb, you can find 4 gateways with similar design patterns seen on the sigils. Perhaps the old ones, or even the Shadowsmiths, use these gateways to cross over into our reality, or have their loyal followers enter the Dark Aether. Interestingly enough, sigils are not what's used to open the gateways in The Tomb. It's instead the amulet. Yay! Or the Obscurious Altilium. Although I'd like to point out that the Dark Aether section we visit in The Tomb is called a nexus. Nexus points, according to the gods, are places of extreme bloodshed which causes weakness in the fabric of reality between dimensions. With the catacombs beneath Paris, it's easy to see why that would become a nexus point. Same for the city of Stalingrad. The history of the tomb is indeed a bloody one, but it seems like the nexus points are mere islands in an ocean of Dark Aether space, almost like a pocket dimension. In the tomb's nexus, it acts as a resting place for the Odin Sentinel artifact. Perhaps when a trial is completed, the Sentinel artifact returns to its place of origin in the Dark Aether. Archibald failed to obtain the artifact in 1908, while Voyage of Despair takes place in 1912. So it could be possible that the Order succeeded in obtaining the Odin artifact, and after the events of Voyage of Despair, the artifact returned to the Nexus Point until it was obtained once more by Weaver, Maya, Gray, and Carver in 1991. Surrounding various outbreaks in the Dark Aether storyline are these near endless walls of etheric energy. Should one try to exit through them, they'll find themselves joining the hordes of the dead rather quickly. But what exactly are these? Well, when Etherium exists in our world, it produces more Etherium particles, which are more or less the oxygen for the zombies and other monsters that cross over into the human world. So if a zombie were to exit this phase, they'd find themselves dropping dead. According to Gorev, these phases act as oceans and islands. Take that as you will. The Dark Aether, through its years of connecting with our home dimension, has led to it making some crafty techniques on spreading its dangerous and corruptive properties into our reality. The earliest known attempt was in the 1940s and more specifically the 1980s. Etherium crystals blossomed in our reality, producing Etherium particles that, as previously mentioned, act as oxygen for the zombies that wish to cross over. But it wasn't only the Etherium crystals doing the job. There were also Etherium processors. Essentially, they are much larger crystal formations that produce dangerous levels of Dark Aether particles at a higher rate and larger volume. Due to Requiem and Omega Group's tamperings with the Etherium crystals, the Dark Aether started to develop other means to infect our reality. The cysts found on Terminus Island and throughout Urzikstan do the same thing, just a little bit more nauseating. According to Ravenov, Professor Kraft came across these cysts at some point in his life as well. There are also the spores, or the quasi-embryonic atemporal protovortices if you're Dr. Barrera. To help combat against the spore infestation, Dr. Barrera developed inhibitor devices that peel away at the spore's outer shell, allowing for Deadbolt strike teams to penetrate through what's left and ultimately destroy it. I also have a video that talks about some of the creatures that reside from the Dark Aether in my Encyclopedia series. I'll link those in the description. Currently though, I only have the enemies from Cold War and Vanguard, but Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 6 will get their own someday too. Oh, and one final detail. Outside the map, when inside of the Dark Aether, you may have noticed this weird rock formation. Well, according to in-game files, this rock formation is Cortifex's castle, so that's neat. Maybe we'll go there someday! Etherium itself will be getting a video of its own, and in that video I'll go into all different variations of Etherium crystals. And for now, that's everything you gotta know about the Dark Aether. I really hope you enjoyed this one. This video has driven me mad, honestly, but regardless, I hope you enjoyed it. And that's it from me, and thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.